Cheap Not Broke fam, thank you for tuning back into the channel. Please hit that like button, that subscribe button. We're on the road to 20,000 subscribers. Each and every subscription helps. Hit that button.
Cheap Not Broke fam, what's going on everybody? It's Thursday. Welcome back to the channel. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 20,000 subscribers. When we get to 20,000, we're on the way to 100,000. Trying to get to 1,000,000. But each and every one of your subscriptions, each and every one helps a ton. So please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let's get into it. As you know, if you haven't heard, they're trying to shut down the Department of Education. Department of Education, that's what we're talking about tonight. Does America care about education? Do you care about education? Because I'm going to tell you, hell no, America don't care about no education. Don't care about nobody's education. Not really. Trying to, if you don't know, Department of Department of Government Efficiency is trying to shut down the Department of Education to save money. Now, I don't know if you know this, but I don't think. All right, let me double. I got to double check my facts. America, we're not in the top 10 in education nowhere. As you said, I saw a story recently. Had a kid too. Two students are suing their school board because they were able to graduate high school without being able to read. Now, reading's fundamental, right? But think about it like this: you got 30 people in a class. Is it realistic to think everybody's going to get it? No, that's not realistic. So, with that being said, education already has problems. Now, do I think personally shutting down the Department of Education is a problem? Well, federally, I mean, yeah, yeah, because people listen. The federal government does provide monies for certain kids, civil rights. You have students with disabilities. You have black students in the South who couldn't initially go to school. Schools weren't integrated, so the federal government had to step in. You remember in the 60s, I forget their name, but they had some kids, when schools got integrated, the National Guard had to escort some black students into the schools because they weren't going to do it. Do you think the state was going to call out the National Guard? I doubt it. I doubt it. So that's what we're going to get into tonight. Does America care about education? And clearly they don't, because you're saying the same states that run the schools run the prisons and the jails. So, does the state have a vested interest in education? Let's be clear. All states aren't equal. Some of these states are crying broke. And what does that mean? If the federal government is not going to fund education, that means the taxpayers will have to fund education. Schools are funded by property tax. That's why certain people like to move into certain nice neighborhoods for the schools. People don't just buy houses to buy houses. They buy houses. People with children buy certain houses to get in certain school districts. Even kids who don't live in certain school districts where they're quote unquote the best schools, they get bused to another district for education. What does that say? Your neighborhood school ain't shit. And you go to somebody else's neighborhood school. And then with all the schools, we don't a lot of the schools have specialized programs. I went to school in Jacksonville, Florida, and I went to what was my school? Preparatory school for a second language. I went to play football. I wasn't there for the language. However, a lot of these we have a magnet program. Magnet program was able to bus kids from different districts, different neighborhoods to certain schools for certain programs. Now you had to take a certain classes. So the first school I went to, you were required to take like two language classes, and you didn't have to have an elective of a different language. I took Spanish, of course. Am I fluent? No, but I'm working on it. Duolingo. Duolingo's trying to help me out. Damn it, I haven't been on Duolingo in a minute. I got to get up on my Duolingo. Anyway, for me to go to this particular school, I had to take a certain language. I went to my middle school. It was a technology school, so you had to take technology classes. So a lot of these schools have particular criteria and they're themed off different things. And you have to adhere to that to go to the schools. Now, does the federal government make this happen? No, this is state stuff. This is state stuff. But let's get to some of the facts about Department of Education because I had to do my research on all this stuff because it's a lot. Now, let's see. Transfer of authority. The order mandates Education Secretary Linda McMahon to develop a plan to shift federal education responsibilities to individual states, emphasizing local control over educational policy. As you know, some of these states are poor. Like you got your states, your Utahs, your Montanas, your South Dakotas, uh, Mississippi, Alabama. These aren't the richest states. They're just not. So if the states are crying for money, then who's going to fund the education? Well, states don't fund it. We get down to property taxes. So different homes, different neighborhoods, funded different, like the nicer neighborhoods, they got better schools. People are paying higher property taxes. What about those schools? Why the Department of Education was created in the first place that don't have the same amount of property taxes, that don't have the same amount of funding for schools. As we all know, schools are not equal. You can ride around any city in America, you go to certain sides of town, schools are nice. You go to other sides of town, schools are not so nice. You remember we used to hear about in the 60s, schools weren't getting books, schools weren't just they weren't getting the proper resources that they needed. Not only does Department of Education uh, issue federal funding, they also cover certain programs like free lunch, reduced lunch, um, and also enforcing that civil, civil rights laws. You have students with disabilities who weren't getting a fair education. All the stuff was fought for in the 60s. A lot of people think Martin Luther King, yes, he was out there for black people, but a lot of white people got a lot of those resources. Civil rights are for everybody, and not just for black people, unfortunately. Now he was fighting for us, but damn it, everybody got a little bit of something out of the civil rights deal. Now, retention of essential functions. Certain critical programs such as federal student loans, Pell Grants, and Title I funding low income schools will continue under the federal agencies during this transition. But when the transition is over, states aren't going to care about them poor schools. They're not going to care about poor black kids and poor neighborhoods and their education. And here's why I know that. Because in order for America to keep on going, you need uneducated people. Think about all the jobs. Now, this is not to offense anybody, so if anybody takes offense, don't. But I'm just speaking facts. A lot of these Amazon, let's take Amazon. A lot of people working at Amazon that work in the warehouses don't have a master's degree, don't have a bachelor's degree. It is what it is. They need people who probably didn't have the best education to work these jobs. You got a lot of factory jobs. You got a lot of retail jobs. These jobs don't require a ton of education. You just get hired and work there. You just get there and work there. Oh, what's going on? What's going on, Josh Brown? They don't care about education. At least the black neighborhood. Oh yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. Yeah, we know in the black neighborhood they don't, because you know what? They're trying to send them kids to jail. Look at the school. Look how the schools you've seen it on the news. You see kids in elementary school getting arrested for BS, stupid stuff. You see, at least in California, you see the state always trying to promote like the LGBT agenda. Not against it, but if that's not for you, that's not for you. You don't want your kids learning that. And it's not, I'm not sure, I don't have children in the school system, but I'm pretty sure it's not 100% mandated for the schools to tell you everything they're teaching your children at the schools. And a lot of that stuff is garbage. It doesn't really help you. All my schools I've been to are closed. Charter schools took over. Right. And who pays for the charter schools? Yeah, people with private schools. Everybody don't have no private school money. Everybody doesn't have private school money. I read someone on the internet. He was like, well, I took my kids out of schools for this woke agenda. Man, who gives a shit about all that? Where are you going to work? Education is about a job. It's about money. Education is 100% about money. Why the hell do I want to be educated if I can't get no money? I'm super smart, got all this education, can't get a job, can't get paid. What's that about? And that's the point of the education. Education is to indoctrinate the kids, not really teach them education. It's not there to sit. It's not there to help you excel. It's not. It's not. What what the hell do you get from a high school education? Can you get a job with a high school diploma? Most people, let's be clear, let's be real. If you graduate from college, you graduate from high school, you only got a few options. You can go to college, go into debt, unless you got somebody to pay for it, you got some scholarships or your parents got money, you got to pay for it. You got to go into debt, go take out a loan. Boom. Or now you do have some state sponsored programs for people with good grades. So those that still is out there, but majority they're not getting that. Or you can go to the military. Go to the military. All right, you can get your education in there. They'll pay you, learn some skill set. That's great. What's your third option? You can go to college, go to military. What's the third option? Third option, you stay local and just go find a regular job because you can only get certain jobs without a degree, without a master's degree, without all that higher education. I personally think a high school diploma is worthless. They don't teach you any job skills. You don't you're not qualified to really do anything. You're not technically skilled in nothing unless you take it upon yourself, to join some programs and all that good stuff. They used to have uh, trade schools. They used to have trades in the schools. Trades aren't there anymore. All the trade grant or program, the states got rid of the trade programs because it's not federally mandated. They used to have programs teaching kids job skills, real job skills, on the job training, because some people would finish school a little early, get all their credits in their senior year to go work on the job, get some job training. Or you got the other kids who are ahead and they just go take college classes. All that is about to be over. Well, damn near it's over, depending on what state you live in. All that stuff is gone. So even still with the education, where are the technical schools, the vocational schools? Oh damn, what's the school? Ah man, there is a school I'm thinking. It'll come to me in a minute. But where are you gonna go? College, debt, military, your time. And you move around. You can't just go. Oh, I'm in the military. Just go get education like day one. No, you got to do something for the military. Then go get your education. Third option, just go find a regular job. What's the fourth option? There is no fourth and fifth option. You only have so many things you can do when you get out of school. So many things you can do when you get out of school. So that's my whole thing about education. Let's talk about what you take in education. The curriculum. You need math. You need reading. History. How does history benefit you outside of school? Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't know history, but I'm just saying when it comes to getting a job, when it comes to finding employment, when the last time you got asked anything about Christopher Columbus, anything about the Civil War, anything about the Spanish American War, anything about the Constitution, Bill of Rights, history, civics? They don't give a damn about that. They ask you, hey, they look at your resume. Where have you been? And where are you educated at? Some people don't have anything on a resume except the jobs that they work, and some people jump job to job to job, and those skills don't always transfer. So you got that. You got math, reading, science. Science is good, but if you're not going into science, what does it matter? Now, I still remember. I can still, I can still sell plant. Damn it, what is it? Plant cell and the animal cell. I can still label that. I still remember what that is. I still remember photosynthesis. Photosynthesis. I still remember chemistry. I still know how to. I think I can. I think I can still balance an equation in chemistry. But science and history really don't do nothing for you. It's not lining your pockets with any money. It's not. It's just not a real skill. So the school system as it is in America, it's not really doing anything for you. It's teaching you how to, my opinion, schools teach you how to be complicit. Because in schools, when you're in schools, what can't you do? You can't question authority. You can't question your teacher. You might know more than your teacher. You might. You just might. I mean, you might have a little more. You might be your parents might educate you a little more than what the average student is getting educated in school at home, right? Parents, you might be one of those really smart kids, know a lot of stuff. Go into class and start telling your teachers wrong. You're getting sent to the principal's office for being a distraction, being disruptive, right? They're gonna see you. Stephen, get your ass out of here. You don't tell me I'm wrong. I am right. Or another thing about schools is everybody's held to the same standard in school, right? Now think about this, the outside of school stuff, what schools don't provide for you. You got three students. You got one student, student A. Student A comes from a good family, great neighborhood, have supportive parents. They really value education. Student B, his parents work a lot. They're not home all the time. They're not home. They're working all the time. They're trying to make sure that you have a roof over your head and other things, other necessities that you need. So they're not. They're not always involved in school because they have to work. Then you have students see single parent, mom or dad, doesn't matter, working all the time, doesn't the time to value education, might be going through some stuff. What about this? Let's say student A, B, or C having some family issues at home. A lot of stuff goes on at home. School doesn't give a damn about that. They expect you to be there on time at school, ready to learn. Now, I remember me as a student, I'm like, well, what benefit is all this stuff? You got me sitting in here 6, 7 hours a day for what? I'm not really, I'm learning, but what's the benefit to all this stuff? You get pushed into school when you're 5, 6 years old, right? Got to go to school. You got to learn to read, okay? But you don't know the benefits of this stuff as a kid. However, you see all these people with all this money growing up. You see all mostly see entertainment. You don't really see a lot of lawyers, doctors, a lot of professions you won't even know about. Ask a fifth grader, what are the professions? Doctor, lawyer, the same stuff, just the same stuff. You see it all the time. Doctor, lawyer, um, shit. That's all I can really think of. Doctor, that's it. What if you want to be a CEO? Oh, nobody tells you how to do that. Nobody tells you how to become a CEO. Nobody. Nobody tells you that. So all the stuff you're learning as a kid, you don't know, like, how does this benefit me? How is this gonna put money in my pocket? That's why I think a lot of kids don't give a damn about no school. Because you don't know what the fuck you're learning. Like, man, I'm sitting in here I'm in the seventh grade. Man, I want to, I don't know, a lot of kids want to play sports, be on TV, all kind of shit. People want to do all kind of stuff. I'm sitting in seventh grade, man. I'm like, I don't like my teacher. She doesn't like me. So I'm struggling. It might be a math teacher. I remember one of my math teachers. I didn't really like her that much. She didn't really like me. And she was a terrible teacher. Did anybody come in and see if she was proficient in teaching math? No, they did not. I had a lot of questions to ask, but sometimes I was a little ashamed. Not, for the class laughing at me, because sometimes the teachers make you feel bad. Teachers make you feel bad. You're like, you know what? I'm not going to ask no questions. Nor do I care about this stuff. What do you start doing? Start falling behind, start failing. And there it goes. Down the drain. There's your education. Who's going to make sure this doesn't happen? You got 30 students in here. Everybody can't get the same type of education because the teachers don't have time. Teachers usually focus on the kids who are doing the best. Let's be clear. Let's be real. And I started noticing that. I started noticing that in middle school. I said, man, teachers only really, they're nicer to the kids who do well, and the kids who don't, they don't care about them, which is the kids who don't do well need more help, right? So your whole education system, in my whole opinion, is just damn flawed. It's flawed. And with that being said, it's not about right now. What about 10, 12 years from now? How's this going to look? People and people who are, oh, get rid of the Department of Education, don't even have any kids. Are you really concerned about your kids' education? Or you may not have kids. You got nieces, nephews, whatever. You got all kind of people in school. Just because you don't have any kids in school, you might have some friends who have kids school age. Are you concerned about their education? No, you're not. No, they're not. School in America is indoctrinated into the BS system. That is right. At no point in time does school teach you law. You need to know the laws because that's how to keep the jails filled and those court costs coming in. Think about all the laws that are applicable to you as a U.S. citizen. You don't take no law class. You don't take no law in school. None. You don't take any law. Half of the stuff you're responsible for knowing, you don't know. Like you're not supposed to steal. You're not supposed to a lot of stuff like money laundering, fraud. They don't teach you, hey, fraud is illegal. You don't teach you that. You don't get no law class in school. They don't teach you any life skills in school. They don't teach you about credit. They don't teach you about bank accounts. They don't teach you how to manage your emotions, which is, I think, should definitely be a class in school. Emotional management. A lot of people don't manage their emotions. You start getting in relationships. People start dating in school. You don't know how all this stuff works. You're just kind of falling through. A lot of the important stuff you need in life, school don't teach you. They don't teach you this stuff. So then you grow up and become an adult. You start getting in trouble. You start falling behind. You're hanging with the wrong crowd. Next thing you know, you end up in jail. Credit gets messed up. You don't know how to manage your emotions. You go off on somebody, as they say, crashing out. You crash out on somebody, end up in jail. Well, shit, I didn't know any of this. Nobody taught me any of this. School. A lot of your real education comes from at home. A lot of your education comes from home. A lot of my education was my parents. My parents wanted to make sure I understood education, wanted to make sure I do well. And if you don't have somebody at school, at home cares about your education, cares about your grades, then you're not either. Why would somebody 12, 13, 14 years old care about their education if nobody's teaching you or telling you you should? You go to a school where it's just not the best. The teachers don't really care. Let's be real. There's some of these. You have a lot of women who teach schools, a lot of white women who teach schools, and they're in these black schools. They don't give a damn. How many kids really know who their principal is? Principals run around doing other stuff, budget stuff, all this other stuff. So it's just a mess. It's all a mess. But here we are. Here we are. Let me see. Completely dissolving the Department of Education necessitates congressional approval as it was established by a legislative action. Given the current political landscape, achieving the necessary support presents a significant challenge. Well, I'm kind of questioning what's the function of the government. If the president can just come in and executive order everything, then what the hell is the purpose of Congress and the Senate? What are they doing? What are they doing? And remember, Congress and the Senate, these are wealthy people. These aren't no poor people. Some of these people got millions of dollars. They're not making $40,000, $50,000 a year. Their kids are okay. And not one point in time did you hear anybody trying to abolish education speak about the future education. Do they care about education? No. You remember the school to prison pipeline? That's still a thing. That's still a thing. School, when school was created, shit. When was that year? Well, I don't remember exactly the year school was created, but when the factory started getting going, a lot of the schools were designed. Was it John D. Rockefeller? It was a Rockefeller, or was it Henry Ford? Rockefeller or Ford? They had a lot of money influencing how schools were teaching and what they were teaching, and what they were trying to funnel was getting a lot of these students after they graduate go work in their factories, go work these regular ass jobs. Because if they educate everyone too much, who's going to want to work at 7-Eleven? Going to want to work at Amazon? Going to want to work at McDonald's, Staples? Nothing wrong with these jobs, but I guarantee you, if you had an education, you were educated, and you had a particular skill set, you wouldn't do that. You would work for someone, work somewhere else. So, in my personal opinion, America's not really vested in your education because they want you to work these bullshit jobs to keep the billionaires making money. Why would Jeff Bezos care anything about schools? Because if people are too educated, they're not going to come work at the factory. Elon Musk, he got people working in the factory on those cars. Why would he care about education? Because people too educated, they're not going to do that. So the basis of America, who keep America running, are a lot of people who don't have degrees, don't have the jobs. Not to mention, they're firing everybody. You fire all these people let go from these different departments in the federal government are no longer working, which means what? They're not paying taxes. So if there's no taxes coming in, how are the schools going to fund it? Now, property taxes, right? School funded by property taxes. But if people are losing their jobs, can't pay their mortgage, how are we going to get tax money coming into the system? You got to keep people employed to keep the taxes running through, unless they're just going to write, speeding tickets and parking tickets, because ticketing, ticketing, tickets, license fees. That's other ways the state makes money. State has all kind of ways to make money outside of payroll tax. They got all kind of ways to make money. But if people can't work, can't pay the taxes, they can't do nothing with that. Impact on personal department personnel. Yep, workforce reduction. Prior to the executive order, the Department of Education initiated reduction in workforce, impacting nearly 50% of the workforce affected by employees placed on administrative leave starting March 21, 25. And today that's tomorrow. So all these people with departments of education, all these people who work for the Department of Education are not going to have a job. And who's going to hire them? Now, I did hear something like this. You have all this influx of people coming in. A lot of these private sector jobs, they're going to fire people too because these people really need a job. You can rehire employees for less money because when you need a job really bad, you kind of just take what's available. You don't sit back there and choose and pick. Well, I'm just going to fall behind on my rent. I'm going to fall behind on my mortgage. The hell with that. I'm going to wait till I get what I want. No, you're going to take care of what you got to take care of so you don't fall destitute. You got kids. And remember, all these people who are getting fired are not going to have health insurance. Nobody's talking about that. When you lose your job, you lose health insurance. Those kids are going to lose health insurance because a lot of their parents work for these particular departments. They're not going to have health insurance. Civil rights enforcement. The department's role in enforcing civil rights in education would be greatly, significantly curtailed, with the responsibilities potentially shifting to the Department of Justice, which only enforce law through litigation. So everybody's going to have to file lawsuits to get this stuff done. So, like I said, you got a wealthy billionaire. This man cares nothing about education because he's like, we're going to shift it to the states with no plan on how education is going to improve in America. They have zero plan. That's my problem with the whole thing. They have no plan. There is no plan. There is no plan on how education is going to get, how they're going to improve education. School suction. I don't know. A lot of people don't travel. A lot of these Republicans, Trump supporters, hillbillies, no money. You don't support Trump. You support because he's a white guy with money. That's what you support. It is what it is. I'm not afraid to say it. You support him because he's a white man. He has money, and you aspire to be like him. However, you're the uneducated. You're the ones working these bullshit jobs, and you're talking about this abolish Department of Education. But you live in a poor state. Where the fuck is the money coming from? Excuse me, French. Where's the money coming from? Where's the money coming from? States don't have no money. States are broke. The states are broke. They don't have no damn money. They don't. Yep. Rockefeller created the school curriculum so people would be workers. And that's still what the design is. School is still designed for people to be workers. That's what school is designed. They need a ton of workers. Caveat, where do you become a CEO? Where do you become? You can see how to become a manager. How do you become a CEO? How does anybody become a CEO of anything? Tell me how. Have you ever seen where you can major in becoming a CEO? Um, how do you become a CEO? That's a job where you gotta know some people. That's a know somebody job. That's not a job that you just get. Yep, I was right. Thank you, Josh. Rockefellers. Rockefeller wanted a nation of workers because he wanted people to be factory workers so they can keep their businesses running. The billionaires become billionaires because they got low wage workers. A lot of low wage workers. Think about all these companies out here. Think about your Home Depots, your Staples. Think about all your restaurant workers, people who work for tips. Not knocking them. But if you were educated, you probably wouldn't do that. So you have to take these jobs. So in my opinion, they're doing this because they want less educated people. Less educated people take these mediocre jobs that you don't need an education from, and that keeps the system running. That keeps think about all the people who work in transportation, drive buses, uh, trains, people who work in construction. You don't need an education for these jobs, and all these people with billions of dollars sit there and make all this money, all this damn money, and what do? Sit there and work till you're dead. Think about how the system works. They want you to work till you're 60, 75 years old. And they're trying to get rid of Social Security. No, Social Security. You work all these years. Some people I used to think, oh man, working somewhere for 20 years is admirable. No, it's not. You've been working somewhere 20 years. Has your salary increased 3 to 4 times? You started working here 20 years ago making 50,000. You should be at a $1.20, $1.60. But some of these people don't pay. Some of these places don't pay that much. And if you live in a particular city, let's see, jobs are regional. Jobs are regional. You want to work in the automotive industry? You had to go to Detroit. You had to go to Detroit. You want to work in automotives, Detroit. Factories aren't everywhere. I try to think of all the industries are located. Can't think about it now. Entertainment industry, Los Angeles, California. You want to work in entertainment? Got to come to California. Probably not gonna get a job in Louisiana working in entertainment. Where else? What other industries you got? New York. I go to New York a lot. New York, the metro system. A lot of people don't have. I mean, some people have degrees, but some don't. A lot of people don't have degrees. You got people who are cleaning up, custodial work. It's not a degree job. So if you educate too many people, you're not going to have people working these BS jobs. And you're not going to have low income workers. But even still, even the average low income worker in America still demands more than someone in another country. That's why they take all these jobs outside the country because they don't need a lot of education and they can pay them pennies on the dollar. And that's how you keep your company growing. That's how you keep it making all that damn money. You're not going to have $1 billion company and everybody's making 125, 122, $300,000. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. FYI, Spelman College, the black female college, is Rockefeller's wife's maiden last name. Oh, wow. Who knew that? Something to know. I did not know that. Spelman. Spelman, a black college named after a white lady. Hmm, interesting. Who's Morehouse named after? Now you got me wondering, well, who's Morehouse named after? I don't know. I attended North Carolina A&T State University, historically black college, Aggie Pride in Greensboro, North Carolina. Shout it out. If you went to college or anywhere, shout out where you went. Let me know. Um, Let me know you went. If you went to school anywhere, or I've been talking for a minute. Drop your comments. I appreciate the comments, Josh Brown. Everybody else watching, drop your comments. Let me know, what do you think about education? Do you think education in America is improving or is it regressing? Do you think education in America is great? Because honestly, if you don't go to college and pay over 100, $200,000, you're not going. Does your family have money to fund you going to a private school? That's another question. Look, we're gonna go break real quick, and we'll be right on back. So, back. We're back. Talking education. Talking education. Mom's watching. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for mom's watching. Hi, mom. Mom's watching. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Man. Yeah, my personal thoughts on education. It's expensive. I'm still paying student loans. I'm not gonna lie about that. I'm still paying student loans. And it took me now, thankfully, I have a career where I can pay student loans. I work in accounting. So I can find a job to pay my student loan, but a lot of people can't. Shit. I did the show. I might do the show again. I did a show maybe last year sometime. I went through every major on the curriculum. I went to my school. I went through my school and I went through every major. And we realized, hell, only 25% of the jobs really pay some real money. Engineering, business, the business school, nursing, but you got a lot of you got a lot of majors that don't really pay any money in the first place. Reverend Henry Morehouse, white man. Wow. So all these black schools are named after a white man. I don't think anybody knows that. Interesting to know. Didn't know that. I had no idea about that. I had no idea about that. But my thing, I'm concerned about the kids who really rely on the funding from the federal government, who rely on the reduced lunches, to rely on the free lunch, the students with disabilities who nobody's going to ensure that they get a proper education. And the states are racist as it is. States are always going to put black people behind. So and then the people that aren't in poor neighborhoods, they're going to get the shit end of the stick. Now who's gonna fight on your behalf now? The state? Come on. You got the states pushing agendas that people don't agree with because you got white people out here who are concerned about the woke agenda, teaching your kids that stuff that they don't want to know. So the states are already screwing you over as it is. And the states have a benefit. States have depending on what state you live in, they have an agenda. They don't want everybody educated because who's going to work? Who's going to work these crap jobs? Who's going to go to the jails? Because if everybody's educated, you probably have less people in the jails. States aren't going to educate people. They want to push people in jail because they make money off of that. So I just know for a fact this is all a scam. But then, how many of us know you got to get like shit? Japan, they have better schools than us. China, I mean, look at this. Just look at the school lunches. The school lunches over in those countries are amazing, and look at the technology and all the things that they're pumping out over there. Now, I'm not saying everything is perfect, but I do know some countries they do value education way more than America. What kind of do you think you're going to get the same type of education in Mississippi that you would get in California or New York? Do you think you're getting the same type of education if you live in a rural county versus in a city? Do you think you're going to get the same type of education that if you live in a nice neighborhood where the houses are $1 million or $2 million, where the houses are 200,000 or 300,000? Do you think you're going to get the same type of education? And then people who don't have school, who have kids, don't even want to pay taxes for education. Well, then the less educated people you have, the more criminals you got on the street. Everybody has to eat. Either you're going to feed me or I'm going to take something. I'm going to take something to eat. One of the two. But people aren't going to just lay down, oh, I don't have an education. I'm just going to hear the deaf and die. No, people are going to do what they got to do to get it. And they know that. They know that about this about people. That's why they put people in jail and make money off of it. Because it's free labor. Remember, prisoners who fight fires, prisoners make the license plate. They have a lot of cheap labor. And if you can have people doing jobs in jails, you don't have to pay them that much, right? You don't have to pay them. You don't have to pay any health care. You don't have to pay any social security. You don't have to pay any 401k. You don't have to pay anything on these people. So there is a vested interest. I think it's a longer game. They want less educated people in America. I really, really do believe that. I don't think they want as many educated people in America. And they only want certain people educated. Look at all your CEOs and look what schools they went to. I mean, how many people who have a high school education rose to the top? And if you can, some people do, it takes you forever. It takes you a long time. Unless, like we talked about, you only move up on the job unless people like you. You don't move up on the job because you're good at what you do. Somebody's got to like you. Somebody's got to like you. Oh, got somebody new from Twitch. What does it mean to be educated? Do you have to get a college degree to become educated? Absolutely not. No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I would think. Thank you for tuning. Elkinglair, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. Do I think you need a high school degree to be educated? No, absolutely not. I think education is having a technical skill. We just call it education. My technical skill is accounting. Some people's technical skill is law. Some people's technical skill is medical. If you work, if you work at, Staples, you work at Burger King, McDonald's, nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with that. Not knocking you. But what is the technical skill? How do you move up? How do you go from fries? If you're cooking on the fries and you're in the back cooking, how do you go from that to owning a restaurant? How do you go from working? I used to work at Staples. How do I go from I used to work in office supplies at Staples? How would I have gone from office supplies to management or owning running a store? Somebody has to like me. There is no curriculum that says, oh, if you do these things for this amount of time, we're going to move up. We like to promote from within. They don't do that. They don't. A lot of jobs don't promote from within. They go find somebody else and bring them in. So I don't think you need a formal college degree to be educated. When I think of education, I think of a technical skill that you can get paid for. That's what education is. When you go get a college degree, what does the degree say? I am skilled in this particular subject matter. I'm skilled in this. Um, what else is their jobs at? Communication, a communications degree. You can go into radio and all this other stuff. But there's a lot of people I knew who couldn't find a job. I had to move shit. I had to move all the way to California to find a job and to do comedy. But I had to move. I needed a job to support myself so I could do comedy. Right? So, education to me, in my opinion, is a technical skill to make money. Because if you don't have a skill set, well, you just got to do anything. Some people just go from job to job to job because they just need money. They don't necessarily have a technical skill. And you can work somewhere for a long time and not get the skills because I know this personally. Just because you work a job doesn't mean they're going to teach you anything. There's a lot of jobs out there that don't teach you nothing. I've left jobs in the past because they weren't teaching me anything. I'm out there looking at job descriptions for the next position up. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do that. And I don't know how to do that. Go to my employer, go to management. Hey, is it possible to teach me these skills? Well, we can't because, well, you need to do this, this, and this, this, and then the fifth. So you're not trying to teach me anything. If you're not teaching me anything, I can't learn anything. I can't make more money. Look at the next job up. Anytime you're in a particular position, there's new skills, other skills that you need to acquire to move up to make more money. If you're not learning that, how do you get that? Right? Just like working in accounting. You start off as a staff accountant. I started off as an AR lead, moved up to a staff accountant. Now I'm a senior accountant. Next thing it'll be for me is an accounting manager. Then I can go to controller. Then you can go to, go to CFO. You can go to a lot of different positions. But you cap out CFO. That's it for accounting. You cap out. That's as high as you can go. CFO. That's it. That is it. So you need a technical skill. And education, high school education teaches you no technical skills. You are not proficient in nothing. You learn math, science, reading, social studies, and a whole bunch of other garbage. You're not proficient in any of those things. So nobody can pay you 100,000, 200,000 to get that stuff. And then, like I said, jobs are regional. All jobs are not everywhere. Some jobs are heavier here. Bentonville, Arkansas. All the corporate Walmart jobs are in Bentonville, Arkansas. So if you want to go work for Walmart and make a lot of money, you got to move your ass to Bentonville, Arkansas. Well, I don't live in Arkansas, but I work at Walmart. You've been working there a year. Think, look at all those people in Walmart. You don't think some of the people are qualified to move up? Some of the people have been there a couple years. You work in Walmart. You're a cashier. You understand the money. You understand those things. That doesn't mean you can go in the finance department. Doesn't mean you can work in accounting. So as a cashier, where do you go from there? What have they taught you? Unless somebody likes you, you're not moving up. You're not moving up. But that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother subject. Crime pays you because you get funneled into prison, $1 billion system. You're damn right. And they need prisoners. They want prisoners because they make money off of prisoners. All these private prisons, look, private prisons, man, is deep. They make they got to have so many beds full to meet their quota. That means so many people have to be in jail. Crime business. Nobody wants a crime-free America. Nobody. The police don't want a crime-free America. Nobody to arrest. No money for you. Think about if America was crime-free for 10 years. Well, you need the cops. If everybody was a good citizen, you wouldn't need as many police. Gotta let them go. If the crime rate went down, they'll let them go. But they're not going to do that. Oh no, they got to keep the system going. They got to keep it. They got to keep it moving. Then they create crime. Think about it. In your car, everybody who's driving their car is damn near a criminal. You can get pulled over. First thing to do, ask for your license and registration to see if you committed any crimes. Not about safety or anything. First thing they do is, hey, we pulled you over. We need to see if you committed any crimes because we want to put you in jail to make some money. Well, we can't put you in the jail. You didn't do anything wrong. Okay, fine. We're gonna write you a ticket. Money off of you. Court costs. You got to pay the court costs. You got to pay processing fee, administration fees. Everything is a system. And with a whole bunch of uneducated people that don't have any money, you can't fight. You can't do anything. Everybody who's making stuff happen has a shit ton of money. You got to do your research. You got to read. The real education is on you. You gotta go value education. A lot of my education that I've gotten is from reading books and just doing research outside of school. I didn't really learn anything that's of value to me in school except learning how to read and do math. And then a lot of the math they teach you is trash. What the hell are you doing with algebra? I mean, we even gotta look at the school curriculum. How does algebra benefit you? Do you think algebra is benefiting you more than learning about civil law? Civil law, just regular laws in the city that you should know, right? Just you know, what happens like law, we get put over by the cops. They don't teach you anything. They teach you like you don't know if when you get pulled over by the police, they don't teach you how to act. When you go take your driving course, driving test, they don't teach you anything. It's just assumed. And what do they say? Ignorance of the law is not an excuse. Well, where the hell am I supposed to teach you? They don't send you a law book. Everybody's not sent a state mandated law book so you know the laws. Because if everybody knew the law, they wouldn't break them. They wouldn't make as much money. They wouldn't make as much money. Oh. Isn't it the responsibility of America to ensure educated populace is the responsibility of everyday American parent to be? Yes, it is true. It is uh, the primary responsibility of America is the parent. The parent. If you do well in school, it's probably because your parents care about your education. But let's be real. Let's talk about real life for a second. Every parent, people got a lot of shit going on. Every parent doesn't, it can't really, dedicate the time that they need to education. Some people are working two jobs. Some parents are single. Some parents are, people are married, going through divorces. Some parents are, sick. Some people just don't have parents. If you don't have nobody pushing for your education at home, you're probably not going to get one. Something's going wrong. Teacher's not treating you right at school. Who's going down there for that parent teacher conference? Right? Who's going down there? If you're a parent, I know my parents, they used to always show up at the school. My parents, everybody knew who my parents were at the school. And there was a problem, my parents would be down there the next day. I'm gonna be that type of parent. I'm taking my ass down to the school. First day, I'm gonna be there. My dad would come down there and introduce himself to the teachers so they know who he was. And he would always wear, my dad was in the military. He would wear his uniform. Where's your military uniform? So you know what time it was. So you're not gonna be playing with us. Don't buy that excuse, friend. You should be asking Americans, do they care about You should be asking, do Americans care about education? And if not, why? Americans don't care about education because they're not told to, because Americans are taught not to care about education. Because the reason why Americans don't care about education, because they need people working these low level jobs for America to work. Think about everybody you face, all the front-facing people. You went to the gas station today. Where did I go today? Today, went to Waffle House to get something to eat. You don't need an education to work there. I went to the mall. Went to the mall. Went to the shoe store. You don't need an education to work there. Went to get me. Where else did I go? I went by. I went to the athletic store looking for some running shoes. About to run a marathon. About to run another marathon. Um, you don't need an education to work there. Think about everybody you face on a daily basis. You don't need an education. You don't. Think about when you call in. You don't need an education. You call somebody at a call center. Don't need an education for that. You don't. Most of the people that you do, when you go to a sporting event, you see all these people, popcorn, popcorn, anybody need popcorn? You don't need an education for that. Most of the jobs in America, you don't need education for. But without those jobs, America don't function. When you go get some food, anywhere you work in a restaurant, you don't need an education. Unless you're probably the restaurant manager, they might be educated. They may not. No, unless you work at corporate, you don't need an education. Most of these people, you don't need an education for. Think about everybody working at think about when you go to the airport, when you go to the clerk, to go to the counter. You don't need an education for that. Training. You need training, but not an education. It's not a specific skill set. You need training. You need training. And America needs uneducated people for it to function. Educated people, what do? They hire lawyers. They have resources. Uneducated people, they don't have as much money, so they probably can't find a lawyer to fight. Think about justice in America. I remember this. Never forget this. A guy said, "Man, I want justice." The lawyer responded, "How much justice can you afford?" Justice is not free. You get as much justice as you can afford. Two people commit the same crime. One has a public defender, one has a high powered attorney. Who you think is going to jail? It's not the crime, it's the money. It's the money. All about the money. Schools don't teach math formulas to evaluate real estate investments deal. It's simple math. Yep. Oh yeah. The math. Yeah, the math. Look, I work in finance and accounting. Look, they don't really teach you what math do you really need to know? You need to know present value, future value. All right. Like when you get a car loan, a lot of people don't really understand how all that math works. They don't understand interest like that. They don't teach you anything about credit in school. Now they're trying to get it in some schools, but that's probably because you go to a better school with a little bit of money, higher property taxes. That district is probably teaching that. But you go to some of these low income schools, they're not teaching you about credit. Why? Why would the credit card companies want you to learn about credit? Less people in debt, less revolvers, because that's how the credit card companies make all their money. Revolvers. People who pay on the credit cards forever, never pay it off. Those are the people you make money off of. They don't want you to know anything a lot about that. They don't want you to know about the law. Nutrition. They don't teach you no nutrition in school. At no point in school do they teach you don't smoke. At no point in school did they teach you don't eat a whole bunch of white sugar, because if they taught you all that, more healthy people, less people in the healthcare system, less people on prescription drugs, right? They don't want you to know. They don't need low level workers. They don't need low level workers. Not everyone is capable of being a nuclear science. That's the way the human limitation. No, that's the way the system works. They need low level workers. They 100% do need low workers. Now, nuclear physicists is a whole nother thing. You can't. Jeff Bezos cannot run Amazon with a bunch of people with degrees. You're not going to have a degree and drive no truck around. You're not doing that. That's not happening. That's not happening. That's not happening. Would love if everyone was an educated genius. That's just not a biological card. It's not the biological card because it's not the system. But you're also looking at education in America. Other countries, just look at America where we were, break down the education system, or where we are now. America values entertainment. We are an entertainment country. What's one of our biggest exports in America? Guns, entertainment. That's what we do well. Guns and entertainment. We sell weapons, we sell entertainment. An entertainer, you don't need an education to be an entertainer. That's a God-given talent. You don't have to go to college to be an entertainer. You don't. Now, if you want to, now I'll take that back. I work in LA. I live in LA. You want to be an actor, you're gonna have to go to some school. You got to go to school. You're not gonna just you're not gonna just act. No, hell no. You need some type of education in acting. You need some type of training in acting. You're not just about to go read a script and go kill it out there in a movie. Not happening. That's not. America does want they do want low level workers because that's a McDonald's. If McDonald's had a whole bunch of people with degrees, who's working here? I'm not working here. Now you might take the job because you can't find one, but as soon as you do, you're out of here and you're applying every single day. Automotive workers. Now one point in time, at one point in time, you used to not need an education to make a whole lot of money. Remember back in Detroit, them auto workers were making a lot of money and they got a pension. They got a pension. I personally think they're trying to get rid of all these people in the government. The government doesn't want to pay pensions. That's what they're trying to get rid of. They're trying to get rid of people paying pensions. That's my personal opinion. You think everyone become a nuclear physicist if America cared more about education? No, but you're picking the highest job up there, nuclear physicist. No, but do you think you could become a corporate manager at McDonald's without an education? No. Do you think you're going to work at any corporate job without an education? No, you're not. You're not working at corporate at McDonald's. You're not working at corporate at Amazon. You're not working at corporate at Walmart. You're not working at any corporate. Let me put it like this: you're not making $100,000 without an education unless you live in a particular field, you want to work there 20 years. Some jobs you're just not going to get there like that. I worked at a job. I worked at Staples. I worked at all these places. I still know people working there, and you're not moving up. You're not moving up. You're just not. I appreciate you. I appreciate the comments though, but my argument is this: without low level workers, how is America going to function? Without uneducated people, how is America going to function? I go to the gym. The guy that runs signs me into the gym. He might be in college trying to get an education, but he's not educated with two master's degrees working here by choice. Like, well, shit, I got two master's degrees. I got student loans on my back. I'm just working here. No, America values low level workers, uneducated work. That's why they take these jobs and send them to other countries because they can get the jobs done cheaper. They're not going to other countries and sending them up like all these factory. Apple, for example, people who put together the Apple phones all if you work in a factory, if you're not managing people, you don't need to go to college to work in a fucking factory. Nuclear physicists, yes. But let's talk about the people, regular people. Let's talk about the people who check in people at the airlines. Let's talk about people who handle the bags. Let's talk about people who are mechanics. I used to work on cars, mechanic. You don't need no education to work on no damn cars. They teach you out on the job. And you're not going to make $200,000 being a mechanic unless you own the shop, which means now you're running being a business owner. Now you can educate yourself and learn how to run a business. That's a whole nother situation. But if you want to work for somebody in the corporate level, in corporate America, I work in corporate America. Nobody works with me without a degree. Not a soul. We're not even entertaining you. You're not even getting entertained. You're confusing education with going through the system of motion. That doesn't make education person any that doesn't make an educated person in many cases. I'm confused. I'm not confusing anything. My point is this: fast food, retail, uneducated workers. You educate all these people, they're not going to work there. Point blank simple. America's a pyramid. Everybody at the bottom is probably not educated. It is what it is. Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, not educated people. Not a lot of educated people. There's not. They're not. It is what it is. You see traffic. You see everybody in traffic. You think all the people are educated? Fuck no. They're not. They're not. So it is what it is. America doesn't give a shit about no education. You got to care about education. But America is not trying to have a nation of a bunch of educated, making $200,000-$300,000 people. It doesn't work. You run a business. You run a company, right? You're running a company. I'm running cheap, not broke. Okay, I got a whole media company. Am I going to just hire anybody without an education, or am I going to hire somebody with a skill set? Now, like I said, education doesn't mean you had to go to college. You need a skill set. You need some type of training. A lot of these jobs don't teach you no real training. That's why people have trouble going job to job to job because their skills don't transfer over. They don't. They don't. How do you define education? I told you. You're not listening. A skill set, a particular skill set. You need some type of training. You're not getting a skill set working at McDonald's or Staples or the airport. That's not a skill set. They can hire anybody. Any job where they can just hire anybody to work there is not a skill set. It's not. It's not. And most of the people that you face front face with don't have are not educated. There's nothing wrong with that. Everybody didn't have the opportunity or the money to get educated. Or it just is just how the cards draw. But the system in America put it like this: graduate from high school, 12th grade, straight A's, great. Go try to find a job. Where are you going to work? Where are you going to make $100,000 without without a skill set? Forget education, skill set, because that's all education is a skill set. Is a particular. I do this well. I'm educated. I do this well. That's what an education is. I do this well. Lower level jobs should be used to be a temporary job for young people, and now older people are taking these jobs to get by. Yeah, because they need the money, and you can't go back to school. You're 67 years old. You can't go back to school, and you do see it. You see, and that's you're making my point. Appreciate that, John. You see a lot of elderly people working these low level jobs. You got two types of people. You got people who've been working with a skill set. They're moving up the chain, moving up the chain. By the time you're 60 or 70, you can retire. You made $200,000, $300,000, whatever, 60, whatever the case may be. You made a good amount of money for the last 15, 20 years because you have a skill set. Oh, you do this well? We can pay you for that. We can pay you for that. You don't really have a skill set. I can't really pay you. I can't really pay you. How many people who work in fast food, retail, move up to corporate unless somebody likes you? Where are you going to get the training? Where are you going to get the training? You want to be a logistics manager. Okay, great. Well, you got to start off at logistics. You got to work in logistics. Well, it's 20 of y'all right there. It's 20 of y'all working in logistics. You got a manager. One guy gets moved up to logistics because they like him. They like him. Now, if you have a degree, well, hey, look, I'm not going to do this here. I'm going somewhere else. Because now, look at me. I have a skill set in accounting. I have an accounting degree. I can demand a certain amount of salary. You can't just pay me whatever the hell you want. Because my skill set, not even my skill set, I'm past that. My work history says this is how much I'm going to make. I worked at McDonald's. I worked at Wendy's. I worked at Dollar Tree. I worked at Staples. Where are you going to work? Just because you work in management don't mean you can manage anywhere. So, yeah, that's how it goes. Anyway, we're getting going. How long has it been? Damn, it's 57 minutes. All right, we got to get on this extra news. Lower level jobs should be used for them. Oh, we just already read that. Yep, we already put that up. All right, so there you have it. We're going to get on to interesting news. Education. Either education, skill set, Elkin Glare, definitely appreciate your comments. I like that. I appreciate the comments because it's always good to hear other people's thoughts and opinions. But bottom line is this: America does not have a great education system, and these states are funded by tax dollars. All states don't get the same amount of tax revenue. And it's not even down to the states, it's down to the counties. The state's not running the schools, the counties are. The counties and the cities. And if you read the news, some of these counties, just read some of the stuff that's going on. Some of the stuff that's going on. I, do I really think the Department of Education does stuff? I think they do, but I don't think they do enough. Some of the stories that I read, um, just like the story I was talking about, they're teaching LGBT stuff to kids in school. Like parents, like, wait a minute, I don't want my kid learning this stuff. They're in the fifth grade. They're in fifth grade. They're not teaching them nutrition. If everybody was educated on nutrition, you wouldn't have people eating all this bullshit, and you wouldn't have all these sick people out here, and the healthcare system wouldn't make money. You got to look at America as a business as a whole. And if everybody's doing well, if one thing goes up, the other thing goes down. Amazon will not run with a whole bunch of educated people. It's not happening. Nope. Amazon won't. Amazon will not be in business if you had a whole bunch of people with degrees trying to drop off packages. They're not doing it. They're not going to do it. They refuse to do it. They're not going to do it. All right, everybody. I didn't pick all my news stories, but we're going to figure it out together. If I can get this shit to pull up. Oh, now my internet won't act up. There we go. Boom. Here we go. All right, let's get to it. You know what time it is. Let's get on to that interesting news. Always happy to have a healthy debate. Listen, I don't know everything. Like Josh told me, the Spelman and Morehouse Brown were named after two white people. I didn't know that, so I'm always open to education. I only know so much. There's only so many hours a day because I got to sit here and read all this stuff. I mean, I only know so much. So yeah, I'm always open to people's opinions, pushback, healthy debate. Yeah, absolutely. I'm always open. And thank you for coming on tonight. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and please come on back. Love to have you back. Love to have your comments in here. All right, everybody, let's get on to this interesting news, shall we? All right, let's get us pulled up. Let's get us pulled up. All right, it's a lot going on. It's a whole lot going on in America. Hell, all the news, everything that's dominating the news is government related. There's a lot of other stuff going on out here that we're not even discussing. Let's go. Let's get to it. All right. Let's see what we got in business. Trump. Eesh. Let's see, where are my news? U.S. booze importers cancel European wine shipment brace for devastating losses as Trump tariffs loom. Oh, let's look at that. These tariffs, man, people don't get it. Prices are going up for regular people. Rich people got it. They're gonna be able to pay all this stuff. It's regular people. Excuse me, it's regular people who can't afford it. I need to get on. I need to ask my cousin to come on the show. She owns a bakery, and I'm just curious, how are the eggs affecting her? Because egg prices go up. You can't go from selling a cupcake from $5 to $8. You might lose customers. People are probably not going to come back. U.S. booze importers cancel European wine shipments and brace for devastating losses as Trump tariffs loom. U.S. booze importers are canceling shipments from Europe and bracing for potentially devastating losses as President Trump threatens tariffs as high as 200% that can go into effect next month. The U.S. Wine Trade Alliance, which represents some 6,000 retailers and wholesalers, said President Trump threat to slap a 200% tariff on European alcohol had a chilling effect, with some importers immediately canceling orders that were already on shipping docks. Grassroots Wine, a Charleston, South Carolina based wine distributor, nixed a $1 million order of European wines last month. Its owner, Henry Root, says, meanwhile, has a shipment of $250,000 worth of Italian and French wines that are supposed to arrive in early April. Well, let's see. It's $250,000. Let's do that math real quick. Let's see. 250,000. I want to know what that is. 250,000. Let's see. 250,000. Let's see. What's 250,000 times 200%? Oh, this crap is up there. Got calculate up here. 250,000. 200. I'll put my commas up here. Times 200%. Nope, that's not it. That's not it. Clear it out. 250,000. 250,000. Put my comma right there. Times 200%. What is that? Equals 2. That is not right. I don't know. I got to get my math right. That is not what I'm looking for. I'm trying to figure out what 250,000, what's 200% on 250,000. That's another thing I don't like about math. They always give you percentages. I want dollars. I don't care about no percentage, 50%, 60%. What are the dollars? Because you still got to do the math. A percentage, it don't really tell you what the hell you need to know. You still got to do the math. You still got to do the math. And I think that's why they use percentages so much, because it really give you a dollar figure. Oh, rent's going up by 15, 20%. Well, how much money is that? How many dollars do I need to kick out? Percentages don't really help you. Oh, here it is. A 200% tariff would spark a tax bill of $500,000 for the 23-year-old family-run business whose clients include stores and restaurants in South Carolina and Alabama. That's more money than we make in profit a year. Root told the Post, if we have to come up with 500,000, it would begin to wind down our company. The wine company winding down. That's funny. The U.S. Trade Alliance is pushing for so-called goods on the water exemption that would allow any U.S.-based businesses to avoid the tariff if their merchandise is in transit when the tax goes into effect. Man, these tariffs, we're gonna shit. You probably feel it. December, what's this, March? You're gonna feel it by the summertime. You'll start really seeing it. I mean, we're seeing it in the eggs right now, but let everything go up. I don't think people realize, if everything goes up, people aren't gonna be able to afford it. Businesses are gonna close. Businesses are gonna close. What does that mean? People are unemployed. People can't pay taxes. People can't feed their kids. People can't pay their mortgage. People can't. It's just it goes on and on and on and on and on. It's a long list of stuff. So tariffs, tariffs, tariffs on wine. So an $8 glass of wine probably start costing you 12 over the summer. Let's see. DEI program. I don't really care about this shit. I'm not a fan of DEI. DEI. Disney shareholders vote to keep letting company participate in DEI workplace survey. What is a survey? Disney shareholders rejected an investor proposal to withdraw participation in Human Rights Campaign Corporate Equity Index, which relates to workplace on lesbian, gay, and bisexual, transgender, queer equality. Disney held CEO Bob Iger is among the highest profile employers to revise some of its diversity and inclusion practices as the Trump administration cracks down on diversity and inclusion. DEI practices across federal government and the private sector. Walmart, Walt Disney and was among the 765 employers to receive a perfect score in 2025, ranking its acknowledgement and efforts to protect against workplace discrimination, to provide inclusive benefits, to offer training, to achieve an inclusive culture. I mean, if you don't have a diverse workforce, do you think you're going to get the best workers? Think about it like this. What if let's take it to sports. What if sports said you can only get players from your state? You can't diverse. You can't get no diversity. You can only get players from your state. No, nope, diverse. Well, we get players from all over the place. If every place was not diverse, we wouldn't have a good working. We wouldn't have a good system at all. Now, when I think about DEI, I think about everybody else except white men. White men, those jobs, look, long time ago, white men were the only people getting these jobs. Do your history, do your research. Why was DEI put into place in the first place? Because a lot of people, less represented groups, blacks, women, uh, people with disabilities, gays, immigrants, all these people, unless you're a white wealthy man in America, this affects you. Because even like, oh, some people are like, get rid of DEI, they're gonna get rid of your ass too. And now with the tariffs, with these tariffs, company might let you go. Now that we don't have DEI, that same company that would have hired you is not going to hire you now. Why? Number one, we don't have the money, and two, we're not hiring a diverse group of people. We're not. We're not hiring that. So this whole DEI thing is it's a sham. It's really a sham. They weren't hiring that many people like that in the first place. Majority of the times, Panda Express, for example, never seen a black person work there. Never seen a white person work there. Mexicans and Asians. That is it. Ask yourself, you've been to Panda Express, never seen a white person work there. I have not. Maybe because I live in California, but I haven't seen too many white people work at Panda Express. I just haven't. Now, are they diversity inclusive? I don't think so. Not really. But to say you're not going to have a diverse workforce, I don't know how you're going to get the best talent. You need a diverse group of people. You need different people. We're hiring off talent. We're hiring off talent. And some groups are marginalized. Some people aren't going to get jobs just because of who they are and what group they're in. Elon Musk stock falls. Hooray. Oh, let's see. Let's see. Nvidia. I sold my Nvidia stock. They weren't doing well. I had some Nvidia. I sold it. The stuff was tanking. I need to check it out again and see where they're at. I had to get rid of it. I said, you know what? I'm losing too much money. Taco Bell, KFC, and Pizza Hut parent teams up with Nvidia to integrate AI into drive-throughs. Yum Yum Brands, the parent company of Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, KFC, and Habit Burger. The Habit Burger. It's the Habit Burger Grill. I said it's Habit Burger. It's not the Habit. The Habit Burger and Grill is teaming up with NVIDIA to boost artificial intelligence powered AI technology at these restaurants, which will soon be equipped with voice activated ordering to take orders at drive-throughs. Trying to get rid of some people. Over the coming months, several advanced AI driven solutions will be introduced across Yum Yum Brands locations. One of the major implementations will be voice activated order taking AI, which will manage drive through orders and call centers. Listen, let me tell you something. The last thing you want to do, we don't want AI on the call centers. Hello, I'm an AI assistant. How can I help you? What's the first thing you say? Representative, representative. I'm sick of it. I do not like speaking to no robot when I need some. Robots do not, AI does not have the ability to compute things. They don't understand all the technical difficulties. They don't understand everything what you need. There's been many times when I've got on a phone call trying to get some help. I'll put my timer on my watch and see how long it takes to get to somebody because of all these prompts. Man, it takes like 2 to 3 minutes to get to a real person asking all these bullshit questions. Man, look, just put some real people on the phone. I would pay. If I had to pay an extra dollar or two to talk to somebody, I'll pay it. I do not want no AI nothing. I don't want no AI in my drive through. I don't want it. I don't want that. Human, the human element is still very, very important. I don't know. Hospitality industry. You're gonna send AI? No, you still want people. People still pay for the human interaction. We still like it. Now, AI has its place, but it can't take over everything. I guarantee you this AI stuff is going to screw up your order. It's not going to get it right. Designed to understand natural speech, it can't because people speak so many different ways. Every state you go to, people have different accents, how they different speak. People speak differently in New York, Florida, California, Louisiana, Minnesota, South Dakota, Washington State, Boston, and New Orleans. You have an accent. You're from Boston. I'm from Boston. A burger, a party. You go to the bar, to a party. That's Boston, baby. You go down to New Orleans. Well, how can I help you, baby? They speak differently. So I don't even know if AI is gonna be able to understand everybody's accent. Or you go down to Alabama. Hey, let me get a burger, fry, large dry. Shit. Let me get a milkshake. AI ain't gonna understand everybody's accents. People don't even understand everybody's accents. So I know AI ain't gonna be able to do it. Another innovation includes version enhanced uh, computer version enhanced operations where NVIDIA's cutting edge vision tools will optimize restaurant workflows by providing real time insights. These tools will streamline drive through services and improve kitchen operations through data driven alerts and analysis. Nah, I doubt it. It won't. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that at all. AI is gonna screw that stuff up. It's gonna be hell on earth trying to get that shit straight. You're gonna be, can I get a real person? This order's wrong. Yeah. Everything's Elon Musk, Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Donald Trump. Luxury retailer preempts opens financial district within the fashion and cuisine from New York Times. I don't care about that. All right. Yeah. Well, anyway, we're gonna just keep it at those two stories because we ran late tonight. Ran really, 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 really late. Really late. So we're gonna keep it as is. Now I got all this crap up on my screen, but that's all good. All good. That's all good. Um, Chinatown never practiced DEI. Oh hell no. Oh, let me help you. Yeah, hold on, help you. What do you want? Chinatown. I used to live in Koreatown, so I know. Shit, Josh. I know. I know. I know. Chinatown never practiced DEI. Oh, never no. Oh, hell, what the? I can help you with Chevrolet, broccoli and beef. White right. Mm-hmm. And you know how they do it. They want shrimp and beef, broccoli rice. Hold on that time. Hold on that time. And then they go back there. What the fuck did he say? Like, hey man, say what you just said to me. Say it to him in English so I know what the hell is going on. Please make sense. So yeah. Anyway, that's what we got tonight. Well, conclusion tonight. What's tonight's conclusion? Uh, Education system is BS. It's crap. It's crap. American education system is crap, as we all know. And you have to take your own education in your hands. And what is an education? It is a skill set. It is a skill set. It's not just, oh, I got an education. So, and what? What do you do? What do you do well? All educations aren't created equal. And education is for a job. And just because you're educated doesn't mean you're going to get a good job paying a lot of money. You need a particular skill set. And education is funded by property taxes. And every county, every city does not have the same amount of property taxes. A lot of these poor rural places are not pushing out, like Elkin Blair said, rocket scientists. They're not. They're not. You got some of these counties been poor since 1800, and they're going to stay poor. And they're not getting any new money. They're not developing any real estate. They're not building houses. Nothing to fund the schools. Nothing to fund the schools. So Department of Education, but remember, hey, Trump won't be there forever. He's not gonna be there forever. At some point, they're gonna swing it back. Like they had Obama, then they went to the extreme left with Trump. Then they went to Biden, back to Trump. Oh, it's gonna go back blue. It's gonna go back blue because then it'll get too extreme and people be unhappy and people will have a revolt. So it's gonna swing back blue, especially with all these federal employees that lost their job. Oh yeah, they won't be voting for Trump again. Like Trump's trying to get another term in office. He won't. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Because why no other president pushed to do it in history? If anybody wanted to, hell, we would have took Obama. We liked Obama. We would have took an Obama. But as long as there's Republican and Democrats in America, you're never gonna get along. You're never gonna get along. People believe in the party and not the policies. Like everything the Republican, look, am I a Republican or Democrat? I am a meist. I am for me. What works for me? Some stuff Republicans do well, Sometimes the Democrats do well. I'd rather vote on policies than vote for a particular party and let them run them up. In a real democracy, we will be voting once or twice a month. We'll be voting a lot more. We're not in a democracy. We're in an oligarchy ran by rich, wealthy people, lobbyists. But that was set. Read the Constitution. Ben Franklin, they put that in place when they wrote the Constitution. They always know there's gonna be more poor people than rich people. Poor people have way more votes than rich people. They do. But them dollars count. And remember, shit, I forget the law. I forget the law. But corporations have corporations have money is free speech. So a corporation has the ability to speak just like a human being does with money. When corporations had the same rights as human beings, that's when everything fell. But if that's the case, corporations should be able to put to death if you're doing something wrong. They should be able to shut your business down immediately. Just like you can put a person in jail, you can't put a corporation in jail. The fines, they should have death penalties for these corporations. You get fined so much, your business can't function no more. You can't function. That's what they need. Death penalty for corporations. We're gonna fine you so much money, you're gonna have to shut down. But they don't do that. They hit these like Uber, Lyft, skipping out on the tips. They hit them with a $17 million fine. They make $17 million in half of the day. They do. So it is what it is. But everybody, thank you all for tuning in tonight. Now we're running a little late on the East Coast. I'm on the East Coast right now. Back on the West Coast time on Monday. Back on the West Coast time Monday. Josh Brown, Elkin Glare, Phyllis Hall. Thank you all for the conversations. Please make sure you hit that QR code. Head over to cheapnotbroke.com. Grab yourself some merch. Hit that super chat button. Please hit the super chat button. I'm almost gonna get my first payout from YouTube. I'm so close. I'm like $5 away. $5 away. I haven't made any money off YouTube. And as soon as I get that money, it's going right back into the company. Gotta pay all these bills. Gotta pay. Cost money to run this damn thing. I gotta pay for this service I'm using right now. I gotta pay for Canva. I gotta pay for a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff gotta get paid for. But with that all being said, donate if you can, when you can. But if you can't, I appreciate you watching any reviews. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. We'll be back Monday night, unless I do a special show tomorrow night. We'll be back Monday night with another show and more great information. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you Monday night. Take care.